at ICFAU, Emory University. Folks, this is our travel show, one of 4s and 5s. It's not a lot, but we do travel, we do get out. We have a very, very special cocktail tonight. They don't know it yet. We got a few people here. It's been a little crazy night. People had to go, but we got some people in here, and we're doing a tribute cocktail, the one, the only Todd Van Beck. So if you're out there, raise a glass, get ready to raise another one. Tonight, we do the Bobby Burns cocktail. Patrick, you know Bobby Burns? I bet you know who Bobby Burns is.
He's a great man, Bobby Burns.
Yes, our Scottish poet. We're going to learn all about him. Folks, are you ready? Come on. Let's go to the Travel Blue Monkey Quarantina. We're the only business is monkey business. And we're rocking and rolling. Folks, here we come. You guys ready for it? Folks, here we are in season 5. It's episode 23. We have a Todd Van Beck round 2 cocktail. We've done a tribute for Todd before. Way too soon, way too early. Should not have passed, but we are where we are. And it only makes sense that we would do a round 2 because every time I was out with Todd, we always had a round 2. So it's perfect. We're going to have a cocktail. Now, people have already commented it, and I know it. When I say I'm doing a cocktail for Todd Van Beck, they say, great, Canadian Club, double, Sprite. No, not that cocktail. I get it. That was his go-to drink. And he's the only person that I have heard who has not ordered a double or triple, but has ordered a quad. I mean, he has got some great drink stories. We've heard some tonight. Shout out to Glenda. We had a celebration of life tonight. And that was about the most amazing thing. And it was needed. So thank you very much. I say that only because of what I'm about to do is an embarrassment compared to what you've done. But hey, it's all I got. Yeah, we have our strengths. So I'm not doing the Canadian Club because that's just a drink he drank. I do believe that Todd's true drink was history. Todd was the ultimate history. I mean, that was his love, his life, his passion. Our first cocktail we did was the Churchill cocktail. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It was season 5 episode, I don't remember. But it's out there. And because Churchill was one of his favorite. I mean, he knew everything about Churchill. Now, what else did he love? Abe Lincoln, you mentioned it. He can tell you everything. Side note, not a lot of Abraham Lincoln cocktails out there. It's okay, because I got the next one, and this is where we're going to meld it all. If there's another thing that Todd could talk about, and if you've never heard it, the Titanic. Todd, if you've not heard or seen, I'm going to push you, 1912 Titanic, he talks about the Halifax, Nova Scotia, and he talks about Jon Snow, Mary Walsh, and how they were so instrumental in how they handled the recovery, the transportation, the shipping, preservation, identification, burial of all the people that died on the Titanic. It's powerful. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it or heard it, you can go and listen to Todd, and it's amazing. So here's what I believe. I think the curiosity of the Titanic that Todd fell in love with and shared, I think everybody has it, and I believe he would have loved what I'm about to share, and that's a little bit of the cocktail history that came from the Titanic. So here it goes. Here's what you might not know. The Titanic was actually built after the Ritz in London, including their bar and everything. This was a design. They wanted it to be this amazing thing. They had 4 restaurants on the Titanic. It was catered to serve first-class people. That was the market they wanted. And they went after them, including lavish 10-course meals with wine pairings throughout the entire meal. And I mean, yeah, they lived it up. And they didn't have a ton of alcohol on the Titanic, but they only had 1,300 passengers, and they were carrying over 1,000 bottles of wine and almost 1,000 bottles of liquor. So they wanted to live it up. I mean, they were doing stuff. So one of the cocktails that was on the Titanic, and we are not doing this cocktail, I'll tell you now. It was called Punch a la Romaine. And think of it as a spiked slushie. Basically, it was shaved ice. They put it in a glass. They would top it with a mixture of rum, orange juice, lemon juice, simple syrup. And then they pour that over it, and then they would top it with champagne. And this was a drink just on the Titanic, and they would use it as like a palate cleanser. Fantastic. It's a lot of work. I love you all. I'm not crushing ice. I'm not shaving ice. We're not doing it. It's too much. But they had other cocktails, and the other cocktails were just as great. One was the Rob Roy. They had the Bronx cocktail, and then they had the Bobby Burns. The Robert Burns, if you want to be official. That's our cocktail tonight. That's what we're going to do. This was on the Titanic. And so first, let's make the cocktail, and then I'll tell you a little bit about Robert Burns. So what are we going to do? Easy. So this place, we're at the Emory Conference Center. They rock and roll. They're amazing. And they have hooked us up every year we do this. They said, Paul, what do you need? I said, I need one glass, preferably a very beautiful coupe. Done. And I need enough ice for one cocktail.
You got your own personal iceberg there.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I should have told him my shaker is only this big because that's a lot of ice. So we'll see what happens. We may make more than one. So anyway, we're going to chill our glass right now. And then we're going to put some ice into the shaker. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, it is a shaker, but we are not shaking tonight because we have no juices we're adding. And if you know juice, no shake. So this cocktail is basically kind of like a Manhattan. It's kind of like a Rob Roy. A Manhattan would be whiskey and then a little sweet vermouth. A Rob Roy would be basically Scotch and a little sweet vermouth. And then this is the next level of our cocktail. The Bobby Burns is a little bit of Scotch, sweet vermouth, and then Benedictine. And that's where we're going to hit it at the end. So we come in here with Scotch. This is where we start. So the Scotch, we're going to go with our little red label, Johnny Walker. Again, this is another nod to Todd Van Beck himself because this is actually Winston Churchill's. This was his favorite Scotch. This was his go-to. So we'll do that. We're going to go 2 ounces of Scotch. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Then we're going to come in with sweet vermouth, 1 ounce. By the way, I love that gurgle sound. I know. Shelby, I mean, normally Shelby's on the backside hitting little buttons to play sound effects. Shelby, we got a guy. We got a guy. All right. Some recipes you'll see they'll do even Scotch to sweet vermouth. The original recipe, as far as I can find in 8 minutes of research, was actually a 1/2 to 1. So, and then the last thing is Benedictine. This is an herbal liqueur. It's like from the 1700s. This is the stuff you buy, and then you'll use it for one drink, and you're like, what the heck do I do with like another half or like a whole bottle? You make this cocktail. And then when you travel, you bring the rest of it with you. 1/2 ounce. This is a great marketing story. I'm not going to get into it. But the guy who invented this back in 1764 created this like amazing story about how it was a monastery and it burned down, and he found the recipe and has 27 secret ingredients, and it's herbs and flowers, and you have to do it. It wasn't true. I mean, 27 ingredients, but early marketing in the 1700s. All right, 1/2 ounce. We don't need to shake. We're just going to do a little stir. This would be nicer if it was clear and you could see what's happening, all the action and excitement and all that in there, but you get the idea. It's happening. It's cold. It's good. All right. We get rid of the ice. It's cold. It's chilled. Hold. I forgot one thing. Luckily, I have my handy-dandy cocktail kit. Bear with me. We're straining. I'm not really straining. I'm straining a drink. I'm perfectly relaxed. I'm comfortable. I'm not straining at all.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that loveliness, right? There it is. We come in. Little lemon. We spritz it. You have enough sound effect for this?
Sure.
Heavy on the spritz.
Yeah. I don't know if we get the P in there. I think that was, and there it is. Folks, that is a Bobby Burns cocktail coming from the 1900s right there. Let's see if it's any good. Smells good. Very, very herbal, a lot of flowers, lemon. Oh, yes, that's it, people. So the Scotch, you get that little bit of peat, that little bit of, great Scotchness I love. And then, but it's got a sweetness, herbal flavor because of that Benedictine. So it's fantastic. Now, for everybody out there, I have to share one last thing. Who is Bobby Burns? Now, a lot of people may know, some of you may not. I will share right now why this is so important and why it's so fitting. First of all, the random fact about Bobby Burns. Robert Burns, if you're, not friends with him. The song that we all know and we all sing, and it's not Take Me Home Country Roads because that is very popular, but this is a little earlier. Auld Lang Syne. Did I say that right? Auld Lang Syne? I think that's right. New Year's Eve, me, all that. Bobby Burns. He didn't write it, but he learned the words, and he was the first person to actually write it down and to share it with everybody. So that gets credited to him. And he was a Scottish poet, and we all know that. And because of his poetry and all that, people have also, this is the second thing you need to know, we have and we celebrate a lot of people Burns Night. A Burns Night dinner. Has anybody ever been to one? So I have. But I'm a drinker, so it's what I do. It's a very amazing night. It's a very formal dinner. And it starts off with normally haggis. Yeah, I just saw a lot of faces. Ugh, yeah. If you know what a haggis is, take it. It's a goat stomach, and you fill it with like meat and stuff. That's not the best part of the night.
You don't want to hear that. That sound effect is not good. The haggis. Not doing it.
The dinner's like a big pomp and circumstance. They normally like bring the haggis in the bagpipes. Whatever. And then they sit there and we celebrate and we talk about Burns and his poetry and everything he did. Glenda, you're gonna love this, and you can steal this, you can use this, and maybe you know it. Bobby Burns. Do you know why Bobby Burns? So this guy is from he was born in like 1759, died. Do you know how Bobby Burns nights started? His friends, 9 friends. On his 5th year death anniversary, they want to do a celebration of life to commemorate him. And I can think of no better way to celebrate than to say that. But the fact that was one of the earliest that I've read about celebrations of life, and it caught on, and people to this day do Bobby Burns nights in January to celebrate his life still. So it's an amazing event that still goes on. So that's your cocktail. And then the last part I leave you with is this. There is one other part that is part of a Bobby Burns night, and that is a toast. And the toast that is given every year or anytime you're to Bobby Burns is to one thing: immortal memory. Never forgetting the memory of that person. And to TVB, I know it will be impossible to forget, but I share and say to TVB, immortal memory. May we never forget, and may we push on and celebrate his life and everything he's done for us. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, folks, drink up. That's your Blue Monkey Quarantina. But wait, hold on. I did one thing and I forgot. There are people here that don't know what the Blue Monkey Quarantine is. Folks, it's in the book. So years ago, when there was a thing, it was called the quarantine. I don't know if anybody was familiar or part of that, but it was when the world shut down. And when the world shut down, Shelby and I decided, I have an idea. let's go home and make a cocktail. It was the oh my gosh, I actually forgot the quarantine cocktail. So we did it, and we had like, I don't know, tens and tens of people that watched us. And when we did it that night, it was horrible, by the way. It was a horrible cocktail. And that was night one of the quarantine. It was when everything shut down. And when we finished that, people were like, what are you going to do the next night? What's the cocktail? So the next night, we got on same time, 7:30, and we did a quarantinerita. And and we continued to do it. And we did it for 62 nights in a row. We documented every drink, every history, everything that was done, and we put it in a cocktail book. And what we do, use this as a fundraiser. So if you're out there and you're wondering, Paul, why do you get drunk every week? Why? What is the purpose? What are you doing to yourself? I get drunk to raise money for kids. And then which sounds bad, but let me tell you this. We used to try to get the kids drunk, and that was even worse. I mean, that is frowned upon in like every state. They don't like it. So I take the burden onto myself, and we use this to raise awareness, to raise money, to put it out there. So the Blue Monkey Quarantine, every Sunday, 7:30, we still do the show. We are in season 5. We are pushing 300 cocktails that we have now done that I have consumed. Thank you very much. And we're going to keep doing it.
Make one for the team.
So here we are. We got a few people out here. We're going to share some shirts. We got some Blue Monkey Quarantine cocktail books. You get one. That lovely woman right there sent me a cocktail book all the way from Louisiana back during the day. And so anyway, that's what the show's all about. It's not just about me drinking, but that is a great side effect. And to everybody that's helped us along the way, cheers. One more to TVB. Everybody, cheers. Cheers. Love you all. And we're out of here. See you next week at the Blue Monkey Quarantine.